Hey folks, welcome back to Crowd Surfing. This is a show which we talk about all things Kickstarter related. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of projects on Kickstarter, and even though I find quite a few projects to talk about each week, it is still amazing to me how many projects I'm just not interested in. If you're ever wondering, when I talk about the different projects that I go over each week, I pick projects that I think are interesting, sometimes interesting because I think it's a bad project, sometimes because I think it's, most of the time because I think it's good, or sometimes amazing. But I don't talk about things that are like, we found the next dirty party game, yay! Well, whoopee-doo. I don't care about that sort of thing, so I don't really discuss it here. But there is a lot of cool stuff, so let's jump, first of all, into the new stuff. Okay, so first of all, we have You Betcha. This is a party game which actually sounds interesting, if not completely new. It kind of mixes a couple of different party games together. There was a party game I used to play called 25 Words or Less. This is something similar, where you have like a category. Oh, by the way, the game's called You Betcha. But you have this category, and so it gives you a category, you know, name the characters from Saved by the Bell, and each person might, there's different, you know, there's different rounds of the game, but you might write down how many you think you can guess. You say that, and then if you're correct, you get that many points. If you're incorrect, then the amount that you bet, that the number you wrote down is split evenly between the other players. I think that's a good thing to do, a good way to play, although if someone, I guess they could overbid and help everyone else out, but then you run out of money faster. And then, or there's just all play where everyone writes down how many they can get from each category. Hopefully the categories are good, the graphic design looks good, but it's going to be swung on how well they put the categories together. Rabbit Island. This one drew me in because of its artwork. It is an explore, build, conquer. It's called a 4X game with tile laying, and the tiles are kind of weird shaped as you put them together, which I kind of like that idea. I love the artwork in this game. You're building this thing, then moving your rabbit around, trying to get points, moving your rabbit to the right spots. Sabers and Smoke. This one may not fund at this point. We'll have to wait and see. The War of 1812. This is a two-player light war game. I really wish they made more two-player light war games. My biggest concern with this project is it doesn't look that good. I mean, it looks like they used, you know, a computer to put together the very basic artwork for the game. I'm not a big fan of that. Illuminati's is another one here that may or may not fund, although it has more money. Conspiracies. You are pulling the strings. You're behind the scenes, kind of like Illuminati from Steve Jackson games in the past. And you're moving around a board, attacking, you know, kind of controlling stuff behind the scenes. The biggest problem with this game is it looks old, by which I mean is if you show me this picture and said this game came out in 1981, I would believe you, and I think that's problematic for the game as a whole. On the other hand, Coin and Crown. Coin and Crown looks very cool. This is a game where you're going to be pulling coins from a bag and then using those coins to build attack towns or build towns, upgrade towns, kind of like Dominion. You're going to conquer these lands and upgrade them. The graphic design is very stark but looks good. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at this game thinking, wow, I saw someone compare it to Dominion. I'm intrigued. I'm kind of like, ooh, this is the game that I'm itching to play. So I hope it's as good as it. I don't know how to explain it, but it just emanates a good feel from it. Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares. Yay. A scary game, another horror game, but this one is kind of combined with a light push your luck dice game to the point where even if you die, you become the bad guy other people fight. There's different colored dreams that are going on. You have different things that you're doing and trying to, again, you can re-roll when you want to, but that could be dangerous. And there's even a way to be eliminated from the game, but you're like, only if you dare to do something and might push your luck too far. So I think I'll be eliminated from this one. Again, the theme looks super dark, but the game looks ultra light. Is that a good combo? We'll find out. Then we have Board Game Garage. I'm actually very intrigued with this. I mean, I'm always intrigued with new game bags, but this one is interesting. I like the size of this one. First of all, there's a very classy look to it, but you can fit 6 of those square box games in it, or you can fit the long ones in. I like how in their picture, they show Gloomhaven fitting in it. So of course, you know, that's the game to carry around these days. But I like the size of this. This might be the best bag yet. I'll have to see a final product to decide, but so far, I'm impressed by it. Wendaki. This is my game or Kickstarter project of the week. This one here is about Native Americans and resource management, but the whole thing just looks really fascinating to me. There's 500 pieces, but what really caught my eye was the action selections, where you're picking a row, a column, or diagonal, and then once you take those actions, you flip them over. That concept is really cool, and you get new tiles and different actions. It looks very Euro-y, right? But I don't mind. I like the idea. The theme is pretty neat. The artwork looks good, the pieces, but the mechanisms are the things that are drawing me in. This is a game that I'll be excited when it comes out to play. Spirit of Dice range. This is a range of dice. I'm always interested in dice. And these are meant to be like the spirit is captured in the dice themselves. So in these dice, you can see they're translucent dice with these spirits in. My biggest concern is, and you can see that there's a whole lot of different spirits, different animals with dice, and there's a lot of cool. I mean, they look really cool. I'd probably get some to put in my collection. I don't know how functional they are. From the pictures, it doesn't seem like it's really easy to read the numbers on them, but I'll have to wait till I see them in real life to see if that is the case. Casual Game Insider. This is year 6. Wow, that's fascinating to me. Casual Game Insider was started from Stratus Games, who made some light family games. And when they first started, I honestly thought that the magazine was just kind of a way to get their games out there more, because they made casual games. But instead, Stratus Games has completely basically just pushed towards putting this out, this magazine out, and 6 years for a magazine these days is a pretty big deal. There's good articles, good pictures in it. Whenever I get one, I take a look through it. It's very, very light. It's kind of surface level in a lot of ways, with a lot of ads in it. Maybe there's too many ads in it. But the articles are really cool, and it's the kind of magazine you can give to people, especially who are new in gaming and don't know what to get. This magazine will point them in that direction. Dice of Rolling. Now this game jumps around a little bit, but essentially they're making dice to be used with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Well, that's fantastic, but this is a weird one to me, because they're like, here are the exact dice that you need. And so you get a certain number of 4-siders, 6-siders, etc. for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Well, that's fine, and they have specific colors that match. Like they said, the 6-sideds are orange because they're fireballs. That's also fine, but these dice aren't lighting my world on fire. And yes, it's a cheap price, but I would rather just go and pick my own set of dice out for a slightly higher price. So this one is not attracting me really, and yet it's doing extremely well, so it goes to show what I know. Stonebound Saga. This is a skirmish card game on a big, giant mat. Almost looks like Summoner Wars in style, but the cards themselves, really beautiful artwork. Not a lot on them, but yet it says there's 300 different abilities, and you have a dashboard, and I wonder if the game might be too complex for its own good, and yet not have a lot of information on the cards. It looks, and it's just me going by the looks of it, it looks like it's the kind of game where you're constantly going to be having to ask your opponent, what does that person do? What does that person do? Now, it might not be, and I hope not, because the game looks gorgeous, and I'm kind of a big fan of 2-player skirmisher card games. But we'll have to wait and see on this one. Stone Days. I don't know what it is that attracts me to this game, but it's just fascinating to me. Maybe it's because there's magnets involved. I like magnets in the game. This game has little player boards, and you pick how your character's going to move. Then you put little axes on them, and you're throwing them at each other. And if you hit someone, you put a little bump on the head, and 2 bumps on the head, and you're out. And so it looks like there's dexterity, a little bit of dexterity, but also tactical movement and simultaneous selection with magnets and cavemen fighting each other. I'm in. This one, it's got to be good. Please, got to be good. It just feels a little bit, it feels different. And that's the thing that Kickstarter is made for, of course. And then we have, finally, Habitat 2nd Edition. I really like Habitat's 1st Edition. You can see my review on it. I actually put it up on the Kickstarter page. But it's a game where you're moving animals around and trying to build a habitat in front of you tile game. Really good. Although they took out one of the things I really liked, the game came with these little porcelain cute animal figures. They're great. Very, very breakable, though. So they're replacing those with meeples. Of course, that brings the price point down, but it does take a little bit of the cute factor away. But I guess you could go and add those in anyway yourself if you want to. But it's still a fantastic, really fun game. I highly recommend that you check this one out from Quali. All right, well, that's the news. Let's keep going.
Hello. Welcome to Kickstarter's First Impressions. My name is Mike, and I'll be your host. In today's segment, I will show you a game I recently received in the mail from my Kickstarter backing called Battle of the Bands, the card game. I will open the box, and we will share together our thoughts on the construction of the box and the quality of the components. And afterwards, I will share my final thoughts on this Kickstarter first impressions. This is Battle of the Bands, the card game. On Kickstarter, it funded with close to $10,000. My pledge level was $30 plus $7 in shipping. And the box pretty small, so it's a good sized box. Is it worth $37? I don't know yet. These are the instructions. They're just like one paper, basically. And these are the player mats. And they're made of like a paper. And there's some dice here with some smaller cards. But there are a lot of cards. And the cards are, and there's some buttons here too. So that's not very impressive. I know it costs more to do more. But then again, there's 6, it plays 2 to 6 players. So there's 6 mats here. And you get this foam gun, which I'm not sure how to use in the game yet because I haven't played the game yet. And then this came separately. This is some more cards for the game, resources it looks like. And if these are used a lot in the game, you'd probably want to sleeve them because I can see them getting roughed up edges pretty quick. $37. If the game is really good, it's probably worth it. But overall, the product itself is on the cheap side as far as the quality. But the play value might definitely bring that up. So we discovered that Battle of the Bands, the card game, was rather disappointing on the quality of its components and cards. But many times my disappointment is quickly gone after I play the game. And I have not played this game yet, but I have a good feeling that once I do, the enjoyment of the game will squash any concerns I have of the quality of these components. Thank you for joining with me today in Kickstarter's First Impressions. I'm Mike, and I will see you next time.
Hey everyone, Tracy, the Gaming Maven here.
And I'm Stefan, the games teacher.
And well, honey, look what I want to back. So it's called Rabbit Island, Explore, Build, and Conquer. It is designed by Leslie and Samantha et Alia. It is published by Infinite Heart Games, and it plays 2 to 4 players in about 45 to 120 minutes.
It's pretty long.
It is pretty long. And you think it's a game about rabbits. Why is it so long? Well, it's a 4X game. So, you know, the whole idea is expand, exploit, exterminate, stuff like that. It's really interesting. I'm not usually a 4X kind of person. And I also was like, well, rabbits, 4X, how do these work together? Well, the demo person was very good at explaining it. And even explained it's actually a bit of a gateway game. So they originally designed it as a gateway game to get people into that kind of style of mechanic, the 4X style, which is a little bit intimidating for a lot of people, especially people like me who just don't really know how to master that style. But this game was really easy to pick up. It was very interesting. It kind of pulled you in, and it had a lot of replayability, which is another thing. Different map tiles, it changes all the time. So I really like that, and I think it would get people that normally wouldn't play these kind of games into the games. And I would really like to see this one fun because it's right now as we're filming it is not quite there. So I'm hoping it really gets there because I think it's going to be a fantastic game.
We saw this one at Origins, and the art had a whole Watership Down feel to it. So if you really enjoyed that book, this game might also appeal to you as well.
Yeah.
So that's good because there's one that I want to back too. So honey, this is one I want to back. And this is a game called Firen. It's a game that's designed by Cédric Duels. It's published by Elements Editions, and it's on Kickstarter right now. This is actually the second launching of the Kickstarter. They had an earlier campaign this year that was canceled. And the art on this and the theme are fantastic. It's a Greek mythology theme game. Firen is a fabled city that was dedicated to the goddess Athena. I always love mythology themed games. I like learning about the other pantheons of deities of other cultures. And the gameplay looks really good. And this one also is, I think it's just over its funding limit, but it still could use some extra love to meet some stretch goals. So hopefully it'll appeal to you as well, and we'll consider backing that one.
And the art on it is really our kind of style. It has that really nice, engaging art. It's cartoony without being like it's that nice kind of look that we get from games like the Valeria games and other things like that. It's quite nice and really attracts your eye and really wants you to kind of be immersed in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So hopefully you check out those games, check out some other games on Kickstarter and back ones that interest you, because it's always nice to support designers and game designers and publishers. So
that's right, and we'll see you here again next time on Honey, Look What I Backed.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, last time I talked about how Kickstarter is not the best way to search itself. Now, the Kickstarter is just not that fantastic of a website, but there are other websites that help with Kickstarter, and the number one that I use is Kicktraq. Now, Kicktraq has been around almost as long as Kickstarter, and if I understand correctly, Kicktraq was actually started by people who really like board games, although the site has grown in popularity so much so that it covers everything now, and it just, for me, I go to Kicktraq first, then Kickstarter. I don't just go to Kickstarter. The reason for that is on Kicktraq, there's a couple reasons. One, on Kicktraq, you can go and it's just much easier to search. You go through, you find games, I click tabletop games, and then you can sort them by from the newest projects added or the projects that are ending soon. You go through, you click on it, it takes you to a page, you click that page, you go to the Kickstarter page. Or you can look at the stats. Now, if anyone ever has run a Kickstarter, which I have, and I'm sure many people watching this have also done so, you live on Kicktraq, because Kicktraq gives you all these cool stats. They tell you how much you've gotten each day, better than Kickstarter does. They tell you your projections and how far it thinks you're going to make, which are really wildly off after that first day, because usually you have a great first day and it'll be like, wow, your projections are here. And you're like, oh, I'm going to make millions. You're not, okay? And it comes down, but watching that each day, you can find trends, you can look at things. It's so useful as a data point. So for a Kickstarter, someone who's running a Kickstarter, that's great to watch all that data to see, wow, okay, maybe I ran my campaign too long because here in the middle, I actually lost money in a few days. But also as a consumer, it is great to go because you can find games so much easier. When I do the research for this show itself, I use Kicktraq. I go there, I sort things out, I look at all the different projects, I then go research them a little bit more, then go directly to the Kickstarter page. So fantastic tool. If you've never used it, I highly recommend Kicktraq.com.
Hi, this is Jamey with Stegmaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about 3 things to keep an eye out for when you research mega projects on Kickstarter and crowdfunding. It can be really tempting and useful to look at projects that raise over $500,000 or over $1 million on Kickstarter, because you probably want your project to do just as well. But you have to be really careful about that for 3 specific reasons. 1, correlation does not equal causation. So for example, if you're looking at a project that raised $2 million in December, you might think, oh, if I launch my project in December, I'll have a greater chance of raising $2 million as well. Whereas really those 2 things are often not related at all, and even misleading sometimes, which I'll get to in a moment. So make sure you don't want to copy and paste every little aspect of those projects and assume that yours will have the same success rate because of those little things. 2 is that you really need to look at the roots of those projects' success. Sometimes a project will have a huge boost on day 1, and you can get this data by going to Kicktraq.com. And usually that indicates that they came in with a great fan base, whether they had a celebrity level of fan base, or maybe they just did a lot of hard work building that crowd and that fan base in advance. Or maybe you'll see a spike right in the middle of the project that indicates that a special media presence happened at that time. Maybe a major website covered their project at that time. So you really want to look at all those data points and figure out exactly why they were so successful. And the last thing is, when you look at these mega projects, they might do things that that would hurt a creator that doesn't have that big crowd or didn't get that big media presence. For example, maybe they don't have reviewers on the project page at all. Maybe they have kind of an outlandishly high price, but people don't care because this is a celebrity and they want to support that celebrity, or they're excited about that celebrity. So look at those things and don't copy and paste those things and think that those same rules are going to apply to your project as well. You want to do everything you can to increase your project's chances of success, and those things might be very different than how a creator with 100,000 Facebook fans might build their project. So just keep that in mind as you're building your project, and kind of know your own audience, know your media presence, know those things, and tweak everything to match that level of popularity for yourself before you launch. Thanks.
I'm Mandy.
Hi guys, I'm Carol.
And today we are going to talk about Kickstarters that we think need a little love, or, well, we just want to give a little love. So, Carol, what is your pick for today?
So, my pick for this week is the Stonebound Saga. This card game is played skirmish style for 2 to 6 players in either a 1 versus 1 match or in team play. Players have the choice of constructed or standard play, draft play, or free play that will determine how their decks will be formatted. Gameplay will take place on a large grid where players will move their characters, manage resources, and roll dice to bring their opponent's character's health down to 0. Now, I love the idea of this game because of the different character classes to choose from, and the team play, and of course, the beautiful artwork. Not to mention, pledges come with the soundtrack.
What is with this soundtrack? This is what it takes to get a game. You just need your own soundtrack.
No, I mean, it adds to the ambiance.
Oh.
And it's a very nice touch on top of a game that looks really good.
And it does look excellent. I mean, the artwork grabbed me right away. I did enjoy the fact that there was, inclusivity in the art. That was quite nice. And the ladies were covered. Well, that was a nice touch. Well, my pick this week is Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares by Shannon Kelly. It plays 1 to 4, 20 to 30 minutes, 14 plus, and it's a press your luck type game. So basically, the objective is to roll a whole bunch of really fancy dice to escape your nightmares or become a nightmare. Everyone becoming a nightmare will actually end the game. So some actions in this game are to sleep light or dream deep, which is basically placing your clear marker on your sleep track, and this is going to let you know how many dice you need that you're able to roll. Draw dreams, you're going to draw that many from the bag. Choose a path, you're going to return 2 of those dreams to the bag. If you end up getting all of one color, you can actually become a nightmare. It's really that simple. Now, there's a few other things that go into the game, but it gives you a general idea. It's really press your luck and a lot of dice rolling and try not to become a nightmare. Or you could become a nightmare because it gives you points. So for me, this is really just a simple kind of filler little game. So I thought it was kind of cute.
That's nice, but it doesn't have a soundtrack.
Picks for this week are the Stonebound Saga and Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares. For this week, check them out, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for another show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. There's lots of projects, and I think we're about to see a huge burst of new projects because it's summer and Gen Con's coming, and people are going to be showing off games that are, hopefully they want people to come by see at Gen Con and pledge. We'll see. It's going to be exciting. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Crowd Surfing.